Welcome back to State of the Nation. Let's focus on the aviation sector, where lawmakers at the National Assembly have held separate sessions over the proposed concessioning of 4 airports by the Nigerian government. Thursday's proceedings at the House had a public hearing. It was centered on how to rescue the aviation industry from imminent collapse. The legislators at the lower house deliberated on the planned concessioning of some airports and some parts agreements which have degenerated into a legal tussle. Let's take a listen.
The current challenges facing the Nigerian aviation sector has continued to worry industry players. The situation is also of concern to both arms of the National Assembly. In the Senate, a motion was considered on the matter.
The Senate therefore notes also that government must begin to put in place a more lasting and sustainable program of intervention and policy direction that will put the industry back in the course of growth.
The Senate resolved to support the steps being taken by the executive to intervene in the current challenges being faced by the aviation industry. Meanwhile, the public hearing by the House Committee on Aviation on the need to rescue the airline industry from collapse continued with more presentation by industry players. The day's session tried to look at a previous concession in the aviation sector that is now the focus of a legal tussle.
FAN has shown complete disregard for constituted authority, for the laws of Nigeria, and I must say, if aviation industry is in any difficulty today, it's because of the cavalier attitude of FAN to rules and processes.
I mean, FAN is a party to the agreement, because we're talking of airport management, airport concession, and FAN was the one that executed this agreement along with the Honorable Minister of Aviation. And there is no way that issues that will be discussed pertaining to FAN will be discussed on a committee without FAN being represented on that committee. So as far as the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria is concerned, that committee was constituted without her being represented.
I keep saying, and that is why we are very worried on the issue of concessioning. If you don't resolve these issues that are on ground, they will go the same way, sign agreements, and mortgage our future.
The committee also heard from the Central Bank of Nigeria on the issue of foreign exchange for the sector.
The CBN intervened in the market yesterday to the tune of 313.9 million. And out of this total value, 69.164 million, which is 31.9.
All right, let's just quickly go get ourselves into that. My guest, Zakabala, he is indeed an economic analyst, a petroleum engineer, and a chartered accountant all at once. And also, Garba Ibrahim is still with us in our Abuja studios. Thank you so much indeed, gentlemen. Let's take a look at what the aviation sector is saying. Let's begin with you, Garba. From that report, what impact will there be if the CBN, for example, puts a special exchange rate in place for the sector?
Gimba, let me start by actually looking into the attitudinal issues we have in our industries, particularly the airlines that we're talking about. For God's sake, years back, Nigeria used to have, or decades back, Nigeria used to have a functional aviation industry. What happened? So we're just interested in bringing the same old people that in one way or the other were guilty in ruining this sector. And yet what we're talking about is policy formulation or changes, or else looking into CBN, releasing or creating some kind of avenue where they can aid the aviation industry. No, that is not the issue. I think it's more better we look into the individuals. Same old faces that were part of the ruining of this industry, they are the ones today, they are coming forward with chubby chicks, wearing suit and agbada, speaking grammar, trying to now claim that, yes, they can revive the same industry. What are we talking about? Is the president not deceived? Where are the younger ones? Where are the fresh minds that are supposed to move into this sector and revamp this sector? Are we being deceived? I'm not carried away by probably the effort of the CBN. My fear is because the same old people that are there are the same old people that will ruin these things. We need to punish people that in one way or the other were involved in ruining our sectors, our industries. Not just talking about news, okay, the senators are there sitting down, the politicians, and again, those in the sector are coming back because it's an opportunity, it's a new government. No, for God's sake, let us look at what happened. Who and who were involved in ruining this sector? Punish them.
My apologies. Let me just come in there for a minute or two. Now that you're talking about the lawmakers and they want to try to prevent this sector from drowning, you indeed led a protest about 2 weeks ago. I believe it was #TakeBackNAS. It was a 2 weeks protest. You were demanding that the members should refund, I believe that's what you were trying to say, the members should refund constituency projects or allowances that is given to constituency offices. Why did you go about doing that?
You see, this is exactly part of what I am talking about. You see, morality begets legality. Without moral conscience, I wonder if sincerely we're going to have policies and laws that will be respected. What am I saying? These same politicians sitting in National Assembly are the same people that they've turned the National Assembly to a business ground. And yet, they are the same people we're relying on. For example, the protests we went on, for God's sake, running costs. They've been getting millions, running into billions collectively.
Okay. All right.
In the name of running costs, which they're supposed to run their offices within the constituencies.
Okay, just to come back to the studio here with me, Zakabala, do you think that the government, if we have to work through the legislators, can they save the ailing aviation sector? Can they save it?
Who do you depend on apart from your government? Everywhere you go, you don't depend on individuals to make countries great. You depend on government because government have the regulatory and constitutional authorities.
So you do not agree with him on this one?
No, as far as I'm concerned, even if you put donkeys there, what you need to do is you criticize them, but you support them to do the right thing because you elected them, or even if you selected them. But as far as position of authority is concerned, when you talk about Nigeria, who will you recognize as the president? It's PMB. Who will you recognize as the governor of Lagos State or Zamfara or Ekiti State? At that level, that is who they are. We must criticize our governors or leaders constructively. But back to the real issue now. What the aviation industry is going through is basic what we call business climate hostilities. Because look at what Nigeria has been reduced to. You're talking about Nigeria based on the volume of fossil fuel we have. But aircraft will come land here, but cannot take off from here to their respective destination. They need to go to some African countries to fuel up. Does that make sense? Just imagine what that has been doing.
So how can we fix that?
It's very simple. The solutions are very simple because they are internal. And like we said, we know we need to diversify. We have attempted devaluating the Naira. We have seen the consequences. We have attempted deregulating the downstream sector. Some of us said, do not devaluate your currency. If you are not into export, do not also devaluate the downstream sector because you needed something strong. It's very, very clear now. What we need to do is straightforward. We have an international commodity with international value. What you do with the international commodity is you take advantage of that commodity, build your external reserve, generate revenues, and build yourself locally. And that's the way it is done. Nobody will say do away with crude oil, it is not relevant when you know that you don't even have enough refined products to be self-sufficient. You don't have enough aviation fuel to be self-sufficient. You don't have electricity, but you know you are more of a gas nation than an oil nation. That simply tells you if you just take advantage of the gas you have and you are able to create the necessary peace within the areas, maybe in this case Niger Delta, from only your gas you will up generation of electricity. From only your gas you will have urea. That urea is what you are going to use now.
We're going to have to leave. My apologies.
And
We're going to have
boost
to
the
leave this
agriculture you're talking about.
We're going to have to leave this discussion and continue it at another time and forum. I want to thank you so much indeed, Zakabala, a public affairs analyst as well. An economic analyst, as well as Garba Ibrahim, a public affairs analyst from Abuja studios. Many thanks indeed for talking to us on the show, and to you too for watching. Join me next time, same station, same platform, where we'll be discussing other issues that affects the country. Many thanks indeed for watching. I'm Kimba Omar, and this is State of the Nation.